Okay, so recording started. Hello everyone, welcome back. And how you guys are doing? So hopefully you guys are doing good and you guys are practicing this Spring Security series and you are actually, learning so much. I hope so. So you guys are practicing and learning things. Do not just watch this series, right? Practice for the best results. Okay, straight away let's come into the topic. Alright, so in this episode we'll be learning how to get users from the database, how we'll be storing users inside our database, because so far in this course we are basically storing users inside our server memory. But I'm going to teach you how you'll be storing your users data or users credential inside a real database just like MySQL, and how you'll be pulling those data or loading those data into your application whenever a user is trying to log in. So I'm super excited to teach you all these things. I'm super excited, and let's go down and dirty and let's learn some really interesting stuff. See you in the video. Okay, so what we have done last time?
We have
Yeah, Yash, go ahead.
We have defined method, user defined login page, logout page.
Oh, okay, got it. Last session we have done with that login and logout stuff, isn't it? I mean our own login and logout stuff.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay, today let's do something interesting. Okay, and again I will be hiding a lot of things today. Maybe if you, as a Java dev, if you are going to think how it is working internally, things like that, you will have so many questions. But I'm not going to answer those questions today because I will have a separate session for that. But today I'll be just doing something really funny and you'll be loving it, because today we will be loading data from the database. We'll be loading user from the database. Okay. So now tell me, this is the configuration file that we had so far. I can remove all these comments that I have. Okay. Now tell me from where we are storing the data as of now. Yash.
In memory.
Where I have defined that method.
There, sir. Configure method.
Exactly. So this method is helping us to load to create the user inside the memory only, inside the server memory only. Right now we are storing the user information. That's what we say in-memory authentication, because we are authenticating the user who is basically trying to do login to our system. Let me do Control S and let me run this application, and you can see that a login screen. And that login screen, when somebody is trying to log in, basically his data, his information, we are storing it inside our server. Okay, server memory. So every time basically I'm stopping the server here or I'm starting the server here, those data is getting destroyed and created again and again. But in real time we'll not do that, right? Where we'll be storing the data. How you'll basically handle this scenario? Can you tell me this login, logout, this sign in, this scenario, how you will be handling? Can anybody just tell me what should be the go-to approach in any of the website? If someone is trying to log in, what he needs to do first? Let's say there is someone is coming to my website. Okay, imagine this website, anywhere I can go. Let's do seleniumexpress.com. Okay, someone is going to this website. If he clicks in login, okay, first of all, where he'll get the data, the login and password data?
He need to first sign up.
Exactly. He need to first register or sign up. Now, when he'll be signing up, first of all, he'll be giving his username, first name, last name, email, everything. When he do a register, at that time, where the data will go?
DB.
To the DB. Okay. So in the DB, the username and the password we will be storing, isn't it? So right now, where we are storing this information in our application, in the memory itself, right? So I will be removing everything, every code that I have written here today, I'll be removing it, because right now I'll not hard code my user. Okay, I'll not be hard coding my user right here. Rather, I want to load the user from the database. So this is going to be our topic today. Okay, so here load the user's information from the DB. Okay, and we'll be following a simplest approach. The more we will learn, maybe we'll go for some different tricky scenario. We'll implementing some complex things. But right now, let's follow the easiest approach, the go-to approach. Okay, actually Spring is making it really, really easy. Okay, so now let's understand how basically we can do that. Okay, so load the user info from the DB. So the user information. Okay, so what are the mandatory information to create a user inside Spring Security? Any idea?
User ID and password.
Okay.
Role.
Exactly. Username, password, and role. These three things a user must have. Whenever you are creating any user inside Spring Security, he should have username, password, and role. Okay, cool. So right now, what we can do, maybe I can show you something right now. Okay, before that, I'll just introduce you something. Okay, let me go to my Google Chrome. Maybe I can start going for Spring Security default schema. Okay, so there is something called a default schema in Spring Security. I'll tell you what do you mean by that. So Spring people says, hey, you can follow our approach to store data inside database. And if you'll be following our approach, then you really don't have to write any code. Okay, the code has been written internally and we have already written the code. You have to just follow us. Whatever the instruction I am giving or whatever the instruction the Spring people are giving us, we just have to follow that. Right now, what Spring is saying that, hey, you can follow our user schema. Okay, and if you are going to follow that, then very easily you will be able to load the username, password from the database. Okay, so they are saying you have to create two tables. First table is user. The user table, inside the users table, not user, because table name will be always plural, I told you. So users table will be creating a table called users. Now we'll be having three columns there. The first column is username. The second column is password. The third column will be enabled. Okay, so any guesses why we are having this enabled column here?
We can restrict the user who are able to log in. Sometimes we need to restrict.
Yeah, just like that. No, more exactly not. This is basically whether the user is enabled or not. Let's say right now you are using Facebook, right? You are an active user in Facebook. Let's say right now you just delete your account for 7 days or 10 days. Now they will not be removing your data from their database, right? They will be doing a soft delete. That two kind of delete I told, no? Soft delete and hard delete. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hard delete, yeah, hard delete means they will be completely removing the data from the database. Okay. And soft delete means they'll be creating another column called enabled. Okay. Maybe they'll be using some Boolean value, true or false. If true, the user is active. If false, the user is not active. Okay. So this enabled is just to track the user. Let's say there is 10 users present in my database and one user, this particular column is false. Okay. If it is false, that means that user is not active. Rest of the 9 are having true, this enabled, then they are active users and one user is inactive. So here we'll be storing the user information. Okay. So first of all, let's do this work and then we'll go to the next thing. So you have to understand first thing is that whatever way they are telling you to create the table, like table name is users, column name will be username, password and enabled. And this column will be not null, not null. Okay, you have to exactly create your table just like that. You cannot take the username as my username or you cannot take the password as some other column value. No, that's not allowed. Okay, so if you are using their schema, if you want Spring to handle the code by itself, then exactly the way they have written the code, the way they have created the table, you have to take the exact columns because internally these names will be used, okay, in their code. let's say right now I will be creating one table. Okay, someone is saying, let's say Sonali is saying that, okay, Vilas, I don't want to create a user table. I will be creating a customer table. Okay, and inside customer table, I will have, I think somewhere we had, I think in the morning batch, we have created a table. Maybe I can show you that. Maybe I had that inside the college. So see this table, I got a customer table. Okay, now inside that I have user ID, name, email, password, role. So one table I had. Okay, here is my user ID, here is my name is Akhil, his email ID is this one, password is this one. See the column name, PWD, email, name. I don't have any username column here. So if I want to create something just like this, then I have to write code by myself. Okay, but no, we will not be creating table like this. We will be following Spring way of creating table. Okay, because they are telling us that, okay, you just write like this and rest will take care. So let's go ahead and do it. So maybe let me create a table. Let me go to one of the other schema. Let me close everything. Go to my DB. So what I have here, students, can I drop this table? Am I using this table somewhere? Maybe not, or maybe yes. So let me create a new schema otherwise. Okay, the schema name I'll give evening. Okay, so just to make sure this is your schema and you guys will be using it, and I won't be touching that in any other batch. So now here in the evening schema, I'll be creating a table. Very simple. Okay, what is going to be my table name? I don't have to think. I'll go to that documentation. First of all, let me ping this one, because when you guys will be practicing, you'll be using this documentation. And see, this is Spring's documentation, right? This is not some kind of website. This is Spring's website only. So I'll go here first and I'll ping this one in the group so that you'll be using it. And the next one. So now users is the table. Username is the column. Copy that username. Paste the username just right here. And this table name is going to be what? Users. Copy that users and paste it just right here. Okay, the next one, the username data type is going to be what? So see that username, bachelor, ignore case, 50 is going to be the size and it's going to be not null. So obviously there should be a username and this is going to be the primary key. So I will do what? I will make it bachelor and this, let's make it 50 characters. Okay, it will be the primary key and not null is checked. So what is the next column? Password, varchar ignore case 50, not null. So let me copy that password. Let me go here, paste it. And this is also, let me make it 50. Okay. So 50 characters. And this is also going to be not null. A user should have the password. The next one is enabled. Copy this. Go there, paste it. And this is going to be Boolean. Okay, let me go there and search for Boolean, enter. Okay, it's converted to tiny int. That's also fine. Tiny int basically will hold 0 or 1. So I can say 1 for active, 0 for not active. Okay, so 1 means true, 0 means false. That's also fine. Okay, and we also make it not null. This is not null or not? Okay, this is also not null. I'll make this not null. Okay, I'll click on, so just verify it. Username, password, enabled. Okay, 3 things we have, and these 3 things are not null. Okay, I'll do apply, apply, and close. Now let me go to the table. Let me open up that table. There we go. Right now, can I have some username entered? Can I have Dilip? Let's say Dilip password is let's say Dilip123. I'm just storing the password in clear text. Maybe after that we will encrypt it. Okay, enabled. Let's say he is an active user. So 1. Let me take one more. Let's say Revti, and let's say Revti123, and she's an enabled user. Let me take one more. Maybe I'll take Karthik. Maybe Karthik123, and he's an enabled user as well. I'll do apply, apply, close. Okay. Now if I'll do select start from, okay, I got a table called users in the evening schema, and I got 3 things: username, password, and enabled. Imagine I have given some kind of registration form to the user. Maybe you can go to here, think like we are giving some kind of form like this, sign up form, register form, just like this. Okay, so the user is going and entering the data, he is doing register, then the data is going to this table here. Okay, now we have not created that screen, right? So that's why I'm directly entering the data here. Maybe later we'll be giving a screen to the user and then he will be entering the data and the data will come here. Okay, now I'm directly inserting the data here, but imagine it's coming through a sign up form. Okay, so my users table is ready right now. So far we are on the same page or not? I want to hear it from everyone. We're on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Abhilash.
Okay. Mayur, making sense? I think you have attended this session in the morning, maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Sonali, making sense?
Yes, Abhilash.
Okay. Abhishek, you are good so far?
Yes, Abhilash, I am understanding.
Okay, perfect. So right now we are good. Okay, we got a table here, the users table, and we got this data. Okay, now let's go for the next thing. What is the next table Spring is saying? So right now, just now Dilip or yours, someone said, right, when we are creating an user, we need three information. First one is authentication, how we will be authenticating him by the help of the username and password. And there you go. This is our username and this is our password. Let's say this guy Dilip is entering to my website, but is he an admin? Is he a normal user? He is an editor. He is a subscriber. He is a customer. What kind of role he has? We don't know that, right? So wait to define the roles. The role we can define inside another table. Okay. And first of all, tell me, one user can have multiple role or not? Yes or no?
Yes,
One.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. One user can have multiple roles. Let's say Avilas is also the admin and also the user. Let's say Yash is only the user. Repti is the admin, the user, and also the customer, right? So one user can have multiple roles. And for that, if we will go to that website here, so we need to create one more table called authorities. So authorities and roles are kind of same, but kind of same I'm saying. I'm not saying they're same, but you can imagine like authorities means what kind of roles you have. Let's say there is a guy, there is a girl Sonali, and she has two authorities. I mean, she has two roles. She is an admin and she is an, what do we say, user. Okay, so that thing will be defining here. So let me create another table, authorities. Just first, let's try to understand. Okay, after that, we'll be creating a table. So we have two columns. One is called username, and this is going to be varchar type, and it's going to be not null. Then the authority. Authority means roles, right? So they are saying authority, we can say role. Okay, so right now we'll be going with their pattern. So we'll be saying authority only, but you understand authority means role only. Okay, and it's going to be not null. Okay, the next thing we'll be creating a constraint, a foreign key constraint for the username. So see, this authorities table is right now dependent on the users table. How it is depending? It is depending on username. I can show you a diagram basically. I had it for the morning batch, man. Just give me one moment. I'll just pull that out. Just give me some time. Maybe I can do what? I can join from my other laptop. Just give me one sec, guys. I'll be showing you a presentation, maybe a slide, and that slide will make sense so that you can visualize these two tables. Not required, but I just want to show you. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm sharing my screen. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what I want to do, I want to show you an presentation. Okay, so many things here. Okay, now this is the table. Okay, we have created this table and this is our user, and here we'll store our user data, username, password, and enabled. We have one more table. Okay, and see, now this Avilash can have multiple role. Okay, there is a user called Avilash. He can have multiple role, like he can be an admin, he can be an user. Okay, so Avilash is the foreign key. Basically, these two table, authorities and user table, they are linked with this username. Okay, so this username that we have here, you can see this username is the foreign key here in the authorities table. That's why whatever, if the user we have here only, then we can do an entry here. If the user is not present here inside the users table, we cannot add an user because this username is going to be linked with this one. Okay, let's say there is no Dilip here, right? Then I cannot insert Dilip data right here inside the authorities table because Dilip is not an user here. Okay, so this one is going to be the foreign key. Okay, so this one is authorities. Here we'll be defining our role. So right now you can see Abhilash is two role. One is admin, one is user. Okay, don't think like why I've written role underscore admin. You can also write admin there. That's also fine. You can also write role underscore admin. That is also fine. I'll be coming back to that. But in the end of the day, you just understand this is just a role. Okay. Okay. Just like that, Frank is an user here. Now Frank is only an user. That's why I have written user here. Don is who? Don is a user. You can see Don is a user. This is his password. He's an active user. Okay. Don is basically an user. So two tables we have. User table we have already created. Now we'll be creating this table, authorities. We'll be having two columns called username and authority. And this username is going to be the foreign key, and which is going to be linked to the users table. Is making sense what we are going to do right now? Just look at the table.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. The same thing. Let's try to replicate with this thing. Okay. Let me draw from here. Now, can I do share? Okay, I can share right now. I'm sorry, guys. It's just taking me a while. Okay. Cool. So the next thing, we'll be creating the authorities table right now, isn't it? Let me copy this authorities. Let me go there. You can see it is changed to dark right now, the dark theme, because it's 7 o'clock right now. This was the theme changed automatically. Same DB only. So right now, I will be creating another table, and this table name is going to be authorities. Okay. And the column name is going to be what? Username. We'll have two columns. One is going to be username, Control V8. Okay. And username data type is going to be varchar. Why I'm not able to change the username? Varchar. Make it 50. And in this table, there will be no primary key. And I'll ask you why. Maybe first of all, let's go with that. Then I'll ask you why. So in the authorities table, you can see if you're going to see the schema, there will not be any primary key. Okay. Now I can take authority. This is the second column. Now let's go there and let's say authority here. Okay. Now this is going to be 50 characters also. Let me take 50. This is fine. You can make it 45, but I'm just matching whatever they're instructing. I'm matching with them. Okay. Now they are saying this authorities table going to have a foreign key constraint, and this is going to be referring to the users table username. Okay, so now we are here inside the authorities table. I can click on the foreign keys, and I can give I can create a foreign key. I can give any name here, but let me copy their name, whatever they are saying. FK authorities users, copy that. Okay, go there. This is the foreign key name, Control V. And now the reference table. Now we are inside which table? We are inside which table? Authorities table, right? Now I'll go to foreign keys, and I'll just refer this foreign key to the users table. Now I'll be referencing them with this one. Username of this particular table called authorities is going to be mapped to username of users table. Okay, and that's it. So now anything else we are doing? They're saying that create another index. Okay, they're saying to create an index for username. Okay, on authorities, username and authority. For these two, just create an index. Maybe for faster, you know that index we are using on some name, maybe for faster retrieval, but we will be ignoring this particular line for now. If you want, you can create two indexes for username and authority by clicking in the index option, and you can start creating indexes right here. But I won't be doing it. Right now, I'm happy. This much is enough. Let me do apply and verify it. We are creating two columns, username and authorities. Index is FK authorities user index, and we are linking this particular constraint, this particular foreign key called username referencing to the users table username column. So I'll do apply, close. There you go. Now I can do what? I can see authorities table here. I can do search, and here I have username and authority. Now notice one thing, guys, you can directly enter the data here. I just do what? Directly I just click here and enters the data, right? You cannot do that because this particular table does not have a primary key. And if the table does not have a primary key, then MySQL is not allowing you to enter the data directly here. So what we can do right now, maybe I can do a insert into, manually write the code, insert into table. My table is evening.authorities, and here let me insert some data. Okay, maybe I will insert values. First, my first user was Dilip, right? So maybe for Dilip, I'll be entering the values like first one is the username. Username is Dilip. Okay, make sure this Dilip is present there in the users table. If I'll go to the users table, then I got this guy here, right? Dilip. And for him, I'll be giving him an authority right now, Dilip, and the authority that I'll be giving him is admin. Okay, let's say he has an admin authority. Just do hit this bolt, and obviously you can see insert into is happened fine. Now I can do a select. Okay, Dilip is there, which is having an admin role. Right now, if I want again, I can give Dilip another role. Let's say I can write maybe Dilip is also an user. Okay, so right now I can hit that one yellow bolt, and you can see right now Dilip got two roles right now. He is an admin and he is an user. Maybe I can insert, I can give roles to the other people. And who are the other users I have? Karthik I have, and Repti I have. Let's make this Karthik and Repti as user. Okay, let me go there. Maybe I can copy this and paste it one time, and let me change it to Karthik, and let me make Karthik as an user. Fire this yellow bolt and look into the data inside the table. I got Karthik as an user, and also let me change this to Repti. Okay, and also let me make Repti as an user. There you go. Search this. Okay, now I got Dilip has two roles, admin and user. Karthik is an user, Repti is an user. Okay, looking good. Okay, can I do one more thing? Can I write here, let's say Sonali and user. Can I do this? If I fire this, what will happen? Data will be inserted or not?
No.
Why?
No. Foreign key constraints error aega.
Yeah, exactly. If I'll hit that, then obviously you can see, cannot add or update the child row, and obviously it is happening because of the foreign key constraint. That fails, right? So okay, looking good. So right now, so far we have not done anything so far today, right? If I'll do a reverse engineer, and if I'll do continue, if I'll hit my password, okay. If I'll do continue here, maybe the one that we have created is evening. Continue, execute, continue, close. So this is our entity relationship right now. We got two tables, authorities and username. We got three columns here in the users table, username, password, and enabled. In authorities, we got two usernames and authority. If I click here, they both are linked with username. Okay, so that's the foreign key. Perfect. Now let me go back to here. Now we will do what? We will load the data from here. Okay, we will be loading the data from where? From, where is my table? Hey, what is this? Can I do refresh? Maybe where I was previously. Here only. Okay, there you go. Here I was, right? So here I got users. Let me do refresh. So I want to load this user right now. Right now my data is in my database. I will tell my Spring Security that, hey, Spring Security, load the data from the table. And for that, I'll be needing your help right now. And you will be telling me that what to do, because right now some of you maybe gone through the basic Hibernate that we have had 10 sessions for Hibernate, or maybe the JDBC in YouTube or JDBC sessions that we have here. Now you should be aware about how to connect to a database. So let me go to my Eclipse, and now your job is you are going to help me to load the user from the DB. Okay, right now don't see any other code. Okay, if you don't know also this thing, that's also fine. Right now This is the method that we have overridden from web security configure adapter, the configure method. Okay, now help me. Now here we need to tell to this configure method that, hey, go and look inside the DB for the user. Okay, now we have to do that. And first of all, before we load the user name, password, role from the database, you just need to tell me that what we need to do first, how our application is going to connect to the database. This is our Spring app. This is our Java app. We need to connect to here. Yes?
Config file we need to create.
Yeah, config file. We need to go to config file. Can I go to the config file? Maybe where is that config file? Okay, app config. Now here what I'll be doing, Mohit?
We need to establish the connection. I mean,
Exactly.
database properties we need to set.
Yes, yes. So to establish the properties, what we need? You are correct. I mean, we'll be establishing the connection. Yes. And how can we?
JDBC template.
Yes, just come again.
We will be using JDBC template.
Yeah, we can use JDBC template. Okay, JDBC template needs something to connect. What is that something?
Data manager.
Data source.
Sorry, yeah, data source.
Yeah, you are talking about driver manager. That's also fine. Yeah, data source. Data source is the one that we'll be needing. So how we can connect to the DB? We'll be needing data source. Okay. Now data source is a what?
Interface.
Yes, java.sql. It's an interface. So in Spring, do we have any implementation class for this? Data source?
Yes, we do have.
Yeah, what is that? Dilip, you may try.
Driver manager data source.
Exactly. Driver manager data source. Okay. And that we have that inside the maybe Spring JDBC while you are practicing, or maybe in Hibernate also, maybe initial tutorials, I told that we'll be needing a driver manager data source. If you are new here also, I know you should be knowing that data source we need to connect to the database, but data source is just an interface, and we'll be needing an implementation class for data source. And for that, we have to go for driver manager data source. Can I do Command Shift T and I'll write a driver manager data source? It's not there because I do not have that dependency in my POM file. So maybe I can go to Google Chrome. Maybe I can drag it to here, and here I can look for data source. So let me go for Maven dependency, and what dependency I need? Let's say Spring JDBC. Let me go for Spring JDBC only. It will be pretty easy. Because I will not be using Spring JDBC, only data source. I need that driver manager data source. For that, I just want to implement this one. So JDBC, Spring JDBC, and let me click on some stable version. Okay, anyhow versions we are taking there. I'll be copying this Spring JDBC version. I'll be going to my pom.xml. Okay, where is my pom.xml? Let me go to there, pom.xml. Right here, I have so many dependencies. I told you step by step what I need, what I don't need. Those things only I pasted here. Now I'll be pasting it right here. Command A, Control Shift F. So here the version I don't need to hard code. Okay, so I can go here. Spring version I'm taking here 5.2.6. So you can see WebMVC. I'm using the Spring version, and Spring version is defined here. So maybe I can copy the Spring version here, copy that, and come to where is that dependency right now? 5.2.9, right? Here I can paste it. This color does not look good. Okay, so right now Spring version, if I click here, there you go, 5.2.6. we are maintaining this version for each Spring jar, for WebMVC, and right now for Spring JDBC also. Where is that? Spring JDBC also I'm having Spring version, this one. Okay, now can I go to the data source? Okay, can I do Command T to see the implementation class for this? Now we can see I'm getting so many things, and I also will have driver manager data source. Okay, so now that class is available, the implementation class. Control Shift T, driver manager data source. Now we are getting this one. Now we'll be using this class here to set our database properties, as you guys said. So now let me go to the configuration file. As Mohi said, we'll be creating one what? We'll be creating a data source instance, data source bean inside my configuration file. So right now here, help me to create a bean. Okay. So I'll be creating a data source object. Okay. And this this method is going to return me a data source instance. So data source, and this is going to come from java.sql. And now here for data source is an interface, and I have to create an implementation class for data source. So data source, Java, maybe driver manager data source I can use. Driver manager data source. Driver manager data source is equal to new driver manager data source. Okay, there you go. Now I've created the driver manager data source instance. Now I can simply return it. Return this instance, whatever you have created. Copy that, paste it here, and make it a bean. Okay, because you want Spring to call this particular method, right? So also let me make this method public. If I want, I can also do that. Command S. There you go. Now here we will be setting few properties. How to connect to my DB. So now I'll say driver manager data source dot set username, and my username is root. Okay, then the next one, driver manager data source dot set password. My password is Avilash. Okay, and also I want to set the URL. Okay, how can I get the URL? Which URL? Facebook URL. Set URL. Okay, now what is going to be my URL? Which URL?
The URL of the current database you are working on.
Yes, exactly. Current schema URL. So which is my schema? Evening schema, right? Where this evening schema is, I'll go to home. I'll do right click here. Okay, I'll copy the JDBC connection string, copy JDBC connection string to the clipboard, copy that. And let me go there. Let me paste the connection string here. And let me remove that user equal to root. Anyhow, I'm specifying the user by myself here, root. I have missed the quote, double quote. Okay, and here I'll be connecting to which schema where I have the user. And here evening, inside this schema I have the authorities and user, isn't it? So maybe you don't see this one. Don't get confused by seeing this. Now authorities and user is there inside the evening schema. So let me go and paste it here. Let me paste. Okay, there we go. I am done. My data source has been created. Okay, so now you don't have to do anything. If you know create a bean, you are done. Now your data source bean will be created by Spring. Now you have to go to Spring security config. Okay, and inside the configure, yes, please.
What about the driver?
Oh, exactly. Cool. Right thing. Now I have not set the driver right now. Just I'm about to get some error. So driver manager data source dot set driver class name. And what is going to be the driver I'll be using? Which database I'm using? MySQL, right? Yeah. So what is the driver I need? MySQL driver. So can I do Command Shift T and look for the driver and see? I'm not getting any driver from MySQL package. Why? These are different, right?
Because jar is not there.
Exactly. Let's go there and look for the MySQL connector, enter, and look for the jar. MySQL connector J, copy that. Click on that. We'll be copying 8.2.3, and let's take that. No, not a problem. Copy, and maybe I'll go back there to the POM, and inside the POM, I'll be pasting the jar here. Command A, Control Shift F to format. So my MySQL connector jar is here. So build is also done. Command Shift T. Let me hit driver right now, and there you go. I'm getting it from MySQL. Which one to use? Don't tell me.
First one.
CJ1, right? Because that's the latest. Now let's go to here to the CJ1, and maybe I can do right click, copy qualified name, because you know that I won't be typing. And I'll go to config and I'll paste my driver class name right here. Okay, now it should work. Now I don't have to do anything. My configuration is done. So data source object will be created. If you'll not be writing it, it would have failed. So Dilip just saved our 5 minutes. Okay, cool. So now we will be going to config file. So here right now I told you inside the configuration file right now we'll be having a configure method, and here inside the configure method we'll be loading the data, we'll be loading the user. Now where from you will be loading the user? We need to tell to this authentication manager builder auth, right? To this object I'll say auth dot right now we'll be doing a JDBC authentication. Previously we are authenticating the user by looking into the users and password, everything available inside the in-memory. That's why previously we used to do in-memory authentication, because right now our data is not there inside the memory. Our data is there inside the database. So whenever somebody is trying to log in, we have to see the data inside this table, okay, inside this schema. Okay, so this is to connect to this schema, we'll be needing a JDBC connection, and obviously we'll be saying that JDBC authentication. Okay, so JDBC authentication is used for looking into the database. If you are loading the user from the database, you will be using this method. Okay, now to this JDBC authentication, how it is going to connect to the database? It will be needing a data source. So I need to give him a data source object. Now that's why I have created the data source object right here. Okay, now you just tell me in this class, in this config class here, I need the data source object. So how can I get the data source object? Maybe I can write here private data source java.sql data source. Okay, now what I need to do, I need to auto-where it. Why? Because obviously whenever I'm writing bean there, this object is already been created and they are inside the application context. Now I just need to catch that object by doing auto-where, just right here. Now I get the data source object, simply copy this object and paste it here. There you go. You don't have to do anything. Maybe you can do one more thing. Maybe we do not have any password encoder, isn't it? And we also have not stored the user by having the ID in, just like Noop or Bcrypt or things like that. So I'm storing the user password as a plain text. So maybe I can say dot password encoder, and this time the password encoder is which one? I'm storing the user in plain text. So which kind of password encoder I will be using?
No.
Exactly. So Noop is a singleton one, right, Dilip? So I can use that get instance method, right? No password encoder dot get instance method just to get the no password instance. If you would have used Bcrypt, directly write a new Bcrypt. Okay, maybe Bcrypt password encoder, that would have worked. Right now, Noop does not have any constructor. It's a singleton class. So I'll do Noop password encoder dot get instance. There you go. Right. So now this should work. Finger crossed. Control A, Command Shift F to format the code. And okay, let me not format the code because I got some code here and I'll be bringing that in later. But right now this should work. Let's see that what is happening, what is not happening. Now let me first of all, I don't trust this Tomcat, and for that I will do what? First of all, let me build this project and I'll be deploying a fresh var. Maybe I'll just do a simple clean install, right click, run as, run Maven install. Let's see, let's wait till the build is success. Now once it's done, I'll do right click, run as, run on server, next, finish. And let's see what is going to happen. Either my server is booting up or not. Failed to load, could not connect to server. Could not connect to server. Why, man? Something happened here. Okay. What kind of issue this is? Let me close this one. And maybe let me do one thing. Let me clean that Tomcat directory. Right click, clean. Okay. And also let me remove if anything is there inside. Maybe this one, let me remove it. Let me do finish. Okay. And also let me clean the Tomcat work directory as well. Let me do OK. There we go. Right click, run as, let me deploy that on the server. Next, finish. Don't tell me that it's not going to deploy right now. Yep. Okay, something happened. Right now, if I am going to use any of the endpoint, if I'll go for my classes, if I remember it correctly, we have some endpoints there. Maybe inside the controller, maybe we have a hello world controller. Here we have an endpoint hello. It's a secured endpoint, right? Let me copy this endpoint hello. Let me go here. Let me paste it hello, enter. Let me see that. Okay, I'm getting a login page. Let me copy this URL to somewhere else. Let's not use it here because we'll be coding here. Maybe I'll go to here, paste it, enter. Okay, I got a login page. Now let's try to log in by using the username and ID that we have inside our database. So I got one Dilip and Dilip123. Let me try that. Let me go here. Let me try Dilip and Dilip123, enter. Okay, I'm logged in. So can I try with hello? Yeah, there you go. Can I try with bye? There you go. Can I try with hello world? Okay, there you go. Yeah, I'm able to log in, and if I'll do log out, if I'll be doing a logout, I'm obviously logged out. Let me try with a different user. Maybe I can go with Karthik. Okay, and Revti is also there. I can try with Revti right now. Can I try with Revti? Maybe I can do one thing. I can directly hit a secured URL. You will be also sure that there's a secured URL. Let me hit hello. Now see, when I'm typing hello, it is redirecting me to the login page, right? So I'll write hello, enter. So I'm redirected to the login page. Now let me hit right now Revti and Revti123, enter. There you go. Right now Revti is she is logged in and she can access the secured sources and also the logout button we had inside the hello world page. So see, if she wants, she can click on logout and she is right now logged out of the application, right? So this is how simple this is. How much lines of code that we have done? We have done nothing, literally nothing. We have just created a data source instance and that's it. And we have used JDBC authentication, .datasource, .password encoder, and this password encoder we are using because we are storing the data as a plain text. Okay, what if I want to encrypt this data? Maybe I can try that also. Maybe I can go to bcrypt calculator because I want to bcrypt. You guys have 10 more minutes? Maybe 5 minutes. I won't be taking more. That's okay?
Yes, sir.
Sleeping, Yash?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, Dilip123. So this is right now the encrypted value. Maybe I can copy that. We are good so far. You have any questions? You can just ask me right now. So right now, let me change that password value to this. This is an encrypted and a bcrypt value. Okay, bcrypt is in bcrypt algorithm we are applying and creating a hash so that the hacker cannot decode it and hacker does not know right now what is the value of this. Right now I am using Dilip123. Maybe I can take the next one, Karthik123, copy that. Maybe here I'll be going for Karthik123. Go with this. This is the hash. Copy that. Maybe I'll go to my database. And you know what, guys? This is going to fail. I know why. I'll tell you why it is going to fail. Maybe the next one that we have is Revti, right? Copy that. Sorry. Copy this Revti and go back. Paste the Revti here. Calculate. This is the hash for Revti. Copy that. Come back and paste that. That bcrypt code here. If I do apply, it will be failing. You'll see why it's failing. Anyone can guess why it is failing? You can
Character
see
more than 50.
Yes.
Maybe. Okay.
So basically, this bcrypt, this value will be 60. This one is going to be 60 character maybe. So what I can do, I will click on the user. I can click on this range. So here the password one, we can change it to 70. Okay, it will be 60 or 50 or 60 maybe. We'll be changing it to 70. Apply it, close. That's okay. done. Now can I get that the other one that I have? Maybe users. There you go. Now can I do apply, close? Yeah, done. So now all this password I have encoded, right? Now this password I encoded. Now if you are going to try to log in, can I go back? If you are trying to log in, do a refresh. If I'll be trying to log in with let's say the lip, and I'm hitting the lip 1 2 3 login, it is going to say you invalid login or password. This is not a correct password because right now you are hitting the lip 1 2 3, but the data that you have here inside the database is a hashed value, right? So the lip 1 2 3 and this value is not matching. So what you need to do right now, you have to see, you have to generate the hash for this. Whenever you are saying, let's say you are saying the lip, and here you are saying the lip 1 2 3. Now for this the lip 1 2 3, the hash value you have to generate the hash value for this, and that value you have to compare with this one, and you have to make sure that the hash is coming same for for both things. Like this hash is the lip 1 2 3, and that hash also which will be generated, the value should be same. Okay, now this one let's say says the lip 1 2 3, the hash which will be generated for this, it should also say the lip 1 2 3. And which kind of encoder will be using? Obviously a BcyrptPasswordEncoder password encoder will be using, because this value we have hashed by using a BcyrptPasswordEncoder password encoder. So maybe I can do what here, instead of saying a NoopPasswordEncoder, maybe instead of hard coding the encoder here, maybe I can put the encoder right there. Maybe here I can create one more encoder. So I'm inside my config file right now. So I'll be saying password encoder. Okay, and now here this password encoder, which one I'll be I can use password encoder. This is the interface, and what is the implementation I'll be giving? Return BcyrptPasswordEncoder, right? New BcyrptPasswordEncoder. This is an implementation of password encoder, because this password encoder is the interface. If you remember, this is the implementation class. So can I do @bean here? There we go. Now I have created a bean, okay, for password encoder. Maybe in my security config file, I can create one more variable here. Well, let's wait for some time. Okay, now here I can create one more variable, private. What is that? Password encoder. Can I do password encoder? Password encoder. And I'll make it auto-where. Okay, now you got the password encoder right here. Copy this one and simply go to here. Inside password encoder, I'll paste that value, right? It needs a password encoder, right? And there you go. You do Control S. Now let it restart, and we will see whether the things are working or not. Right now, we have created the hashed value. So even though you have my database access, still if you are looking into this one, inside the users table, you do not know what is the value of this particular, the salt that you have right here. Perfect. So now looks like it's good. I can go back to here. Now I can simply go with delete and delete 1 2 3, log in, and boom, I'm logged in. Now obviously for this one, we do not have any page attached. That's why I'm saying 404, but we can try with some secure resources like hello. It's also working. If you can go with bye, this is also working. Can you go with hello world? Okay, this is also a secured secure resource. Still is working. If you want to do a logout, click on logout. Try to go with repti right now. Repti and repti 1 2 3 login, and there you go. I'm logged in. Let's say hello world, and obviously you'll be able to access this one. Log out, and you are logged out of the system.
Alright guys, so before you get started with this particular video, I just want to quickly tell you a few things. Maybe you can skip this particular things. If you are a new user to my channel, you can basically skip this particular stuff and go into this particular time or this particular timestamp. Well, I want to tell you something guys, if you're following this course along from the video number 1, I told you that, I'll be sharing you some Java 8 resources, and actually I have shared around shared my paid Java 8 course to around 100 people, okay, for free. And right now, if you are raising a free request, I'm not going to take it anymore, because anyhow, those 100 people, they are learning, and I have created the username and password, a credential for them. So actually, they are learning it for free, and I have to bear that cost, because anyhow, those videos are hosted in some video hosting platform and I have to pay for that. So I cannot actually afford to give more than 100 people access at a time. So there is no benefit, guys. There is no benefit I'm making out of it. So actually I'm paying for a lot of different stuffs, and also I'm paying for those extra $50-60 for those 100 people. And what I'm gonna request you people who have taken the Java 8 course for free, once you learn it, I mean, at least, if you are learning it for a month and if you are okay with those contents, then you just talk to me again and, tell that, Abhilash, I don't need all these videos anymore. So please, deactivate the account. So I can deactivate the account so that to someone else, I can actually give that particular course for free. Because as I said, I can only afford, to give that particular course to 100 people. So please help me to do that. If you have taken that course, the way I have connected you, the way I have given you that particular course for free, the same way, once you are done with that course, talk to me that, Abhilash, deactivate the account, and I don't need this particular course anymore. I'm good with the content, right? So that I can actually create one more account for someone needy, and I can give that particular course for free. Okay. I hope you guys understand. So there are also people who are in wait, so please think about them. And one more thing, guys, the people who are actually going for the microservices or Spring Boot course of mine, make sure that before you raising a request, a paid course request, make sure you guys have completed the Spring Core and MVC videos in my YouTube playlist. That's the prerequisite. Without attending those particular sessions, without taking those particular courses, if you're attending it, or if you're making a particular request for Spring Boot course, I'm gonna reject it. So these are the two updates that I want to give you before I get started with this particular video. Sorry for wasting your 2 minutes, and right now let's get started with this particular video, and I'll see you around.
Making sense, guys, whatever I have done so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dilip, making sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
Abhilash.
Okay. Abhishek, I know you have not watched the previous videos, but still whatever we have done, at least kind of giving you something like what we're trying to achieve here.
Yeah, I understood what you were trying to achieve, but last few 10 minutes I didn't understand.
Okay. Tell me which one, Abhishek?
That BcyrptPasswordEncoder used, right? That one.
Yes.
I didn't understand.
So this website you are saying, huh?
Yeah, this one, and while logging in with that password, why it didn't work in the first attempt? I didn't understand.
Okay. So right now, basically, I have explained this in maybe the first video or second video, Abhishek. You may go through that, and that will help you anyhow. But for a short, if I want to wrap it, it's like, see, now whenever you have a password, let's say you have a password in the database. Where is the database? Okay, now we got a password here. This is an encoded password. Okay, so right now, whenever you are storing password in the database, Abhishek, now password, how you want to encode the password? Okay, so there are different password encoder are available in Spring Security. Okay, so what are the password encoder that we have? You can go to, there is a interface called Password Encoder. If you'll go here, now this is an interface, right? So there are so many implementation class available for the password encoder. See, this is an, if you are going to write a password encoder, you should override this encode method, override this matches method. And obviously this is a default method, is up to you, you'll be overriding or not. But the thing is that this is a password encoder will help you to encode the password, because you don't want to store the password in plain text. Previously, we are storing the password here in the plain text, right? Like Dilip123. Karthik123. Okay. Now imagine that you have the access to the database. Now, if you have the access to the users table, if you're going to look into that, then obviously you will know Dilip password, right?
Yeah. Yes, I can see the password directly.
Yeah. So we have to encode the password. Now, to encode the password, I will be telling all these things in very briefly in my coming lectures. But right now, how we want to encode the password? If you do Command T on this encoder, you can see there are a lot of password encoder available given by Spring. Okay, just like BcyrptPasswordEncoder, you have also Script. This is also a very standard one, Script password encoder, and this is basically one-way hashing. I'll be telling you about hashing. Hashing means once you generate a string, it cannot be reverted back. Okay, for an example, this thing, I mean, right now you'll have a lot of questions like then how it is reverting back, how the comparison is happening. Obviously, I'll be telling you about it. Right now, imagine this refty123. We have used an algorithm, that algorithm called bcrypt algorithm. You can see inside the password encoder, we have a kind of password encoder implementation, which is that bcrypt password encoder. If you'll go here, see this bcrypt password encoder, this is a class, and this implements the password encoder, right? And now it should have overridden that, methods, like it has a method called matches. I have shown you there, matches method. Okay. Now this is the method which will be executed when someone is giving a password here. Now this method will do what? Let's say here you are giving a password, right? Username and password. Now let's say here I'm giving Dilip123. Okay. Now this password and whatever I have in the database, this password, that will be compared. And how that will be compared? This matches method will help you to compare that. Okay. Now this matches method will do what? It can take the raw password that is coming from, from the user interface, and the encoded password that you have inside the DB, right? So these two passwords, it will compare, and it will compare by using its own logic. Which logic? Bcrypt logic. That's why you have seen that I have done what? Inside the bcrypt calculator, I have created this string. This string, this is one-way hashing. This is the encoded value. Okay. Now this value, how I have encoded? By using a calculator called bcrypt calculator. That's why I have stored this value here inside the database, right? Now the thing is that here in my security config, here inside the configure method, we need to tell to Spring that, okay, we are saying here inside the configure method that, hey, do a JDBC authentication. And to do that authentication, use my data source. My data source is whatever I have defined. And that data source is going to tell Spring Security to connect to the user table to here. Okay. Now this logic that you have written, that this code that you have generated, by which kind of password encoder you have used to create this particular long string. Okay. Now we have used what? We have used bcrypt password encoder. That's why I'm writing exactly. Now this password encoder is obviously where I have defined. I have made it auto-where. I have defined it here. Now here, this password encoder, what I'm returning bcrypt password encoder, right? Now, if you would have write it in normal string, like here I would have write Dilip123. Now this will not work with bcrypt password encoder. This is plain string. And if you are storing your password with plain string, we have another one that is called NoopPassword Encoder. Right now, if I'll change it to NoopPassword Encoder. So we cannot do new NoopPassword Encoder because NoopPassword Encoder is basically a singleton class. If you do Control-Shift-T, NoopPassword. Can I do NoopPassword Encoder? If you're going to see here, so basically Spring says, Abhishek, don't use this password encoder because this encoder is deprecated, and they are telling do not use it because this password encoder you'll be only using whenever you will be having password as clear text. And obviously you never want that inside your database you'll be having your password in clear text. Okay, so that's why they are saying don't use it. And obviously you can see there is a method here called getInstance, okay, which will get you the instance. Okay, what is this instance? If you click here, this instance is a static variable, and they are creating the instance here, new NoopPassword Encoder, and this NoopPassword Encoder is the private constructor. Inside a singleton class, we'll have a private constructor, right? And as the constructor is private, we cannot use NoopPassword Encoder equal to new NoopPassword Encoder. New keyword we cannot use. If you want to get the object of that, you can use this getInstance. So that's why what I was doing previously. If you want to go to here, now you can do NoopPassword Encoder. New I can use, right? So NoopPassword Encoder dot getInstance. Okay. Now if I'll do that, now this one will work. Dilip123, this thing is going to work. Let's check whether it's working or not. But the other thing will not work. I'll just tell you. So right now it's completed. I'll go back to here. I'll go to the login page. Now I'll just try with Dilip. Dilip, and his ID is Dilip123. Enter. Sorry, maybe I have written wrong. Dilip and Dilip123. Enter. Okay, why saying wrong password? Return this one. Let me go here. Dilip, DILIP, Dilip123. Looks like, okay, have I applied it? Close. Right now, can I see the users? Okay, I have Dilip123 here, right? Now I can check that. Can I do a refresh? And let's check it. Maybe Dilip and Dilip123. Enter. Now I'm logged in, right? Now I can go to hello world. This is an endpoint that we have written. See, I'm logged in here. If I want, I can do logout. But right now, Abhishek, if I'll be trying with refT, this will not work. Why? I'll tell you. Now refT123. If I'll do login, it will say invalid login or password. Why? Because this refT, this particular data is going. Okay, and this data is going, and now NoopPasswordEncoder will do what? It will go to NoopPasswordEncoder. I'll just tell you a little bit of interesting thing here. The NoopPasswordEncoder will use this method, matches method, to match the password, the raw password and the encoded password. Raw password is what? Whatever we are getting from here. Now here what I'm giving refT123. Okay, so now that password will come to here. This is the encoded password. This password will come from the database. In database, what we have for refT? This string. Now see what kind of logic they have inside NoopPasswordEncoder, and that's why they are saying do not use it. See, they are using raw password or toString equals method, right? So if you are going to compare refT123 with this one, it's going to return true or false? False, right? Then yes. Obviously the password does not match. If you do not believe me, I already got a breakpoint here. Maybe what I can do, I can quickly show you this. Maybe I'll just tell you guys these things. I'll explain you just because you are having a curiosity. I'm just explaining this one, but you can see that for one time I can remove everything. Good question. Yeah. So what I can do, I can go to here. Maybe this is NoopPasswordEncoder. This is the encoder that I'm using. I can just give my breakpoint here in line number 40. Now you'll be seeing that the flow will come to here. Let me go to here. Here I'm using password encoder, NoopPasswordEncoder, right? So Spring knows right now this guy is using NoopPasswordEncoder in his system. I mean in his application. So go to the other perspective. Let me stop the server, and what I can do, I can start it in debug mode. Debug. Let it start in the debug mode and make sure I have given a breakpoint there. If I'll go to the NoopPasswordEncoder, here inside the matches method. Okay, this is the implemented. Here we have the matches method, and here I have given the breakpoint. Okay, now see that, okay, whether here our flow is stopping or not. Now let me try, let me do a refresh. Okay, now let me try with Dilip first. Dilip123, enter. Okay, now the flow came here. Let me do switch. Okay, now see, where is my flow? Inside NoopPasswordEncoder, right? So now what is the raw password? Over here, Dilip123. This is what I'm entering in the screen right here, this password. Now, what is the encoded password? Encoded password is also Dilip123. Because why? In DB, what I have? Dilip123, right? So now this one, if I'll do Control-Shift-I, obviously will return. Okay, I am having some problem with this one, but anyhow, if I'll do step over, okay, now it will be going to exception. So anyhow, I was not able to do Control-Shift-I on that, but you can see that obviously you can understand what will happen. Obviously that equals method will return you false, isn't it? So yes. Now if I will try with the other one, let me go to the screen. Okay, Dilip is logged in right now. Okay, for Dilip it will be returning true. I'm sorry, because Dilip and Dilip will match, no? So it will be returning true. Let me try with refT. So that's why Dilip is logged in right now. So if I'll go to hello world Now I can do logout. For Dilip, it is successful. Login is successful. Now let me try with repti. Repti and repti 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now do login. Again, the flow will go to that method. Now see the raw password. What we have repti 1, 2, 3. What is the encoded value? Now see.
1, 2, 3.
This is what coming from the DB. Okay. Now obviously here what is going to the value, you can imagine. Why I'm not able to execute this? I don't know. Maybe can I do execute here? Okay, can I put another breakpoint here? It's not possible, right? I don't know, I'm having some problem. Okay, so right now if I'll do resume, obviously it will fail. It will say, okay, invalid login or password. Okay, I mean, it's making sense, Abhishek, what I'm trying to say here?
Yes.
Yeah, but go with those videos, the initial 2-3 videos, Abhishek, that will make a little bit of sense. But about this password encoder, guys, I'm going to take a complete session. I'll be telling you about all kind of password encoder that we have. Maybe I don't want to complicate things right now by showing you the code and things like that. But I will be coming back to this. As I said, complicated module, will go step by step. But yes, you should know at least how this is working. Okay, it's making sense right now, like what we are trying to achieve. Other people, I mean, we are good so far, no confusion.
Yes, hello sir.
Yeah, Felix.
Just one question.
Yeah, sure.
So when we have encrypted our password and then when we are storing it in the database, can we have a constant? Maybe for example, we stated in the database to store a maximum of 50 digits, and maybe they are letters only. Yeah. So when we encrypt the password will become more.
Yeah, no. The bcrypt one, Felix, the bcrypt encoder, if you'll be using, always the string value will be 60. So you can count it. It will be 60 only. You can count the word, that will be always 60. So whenever you will be creating, creating the password hash, just like this, the encrypted value by using a bcrypt encoder, then obviously the value will be 60 only for everything. Maybe for if I give any random string here, that will be 60 only. You can see this value will not be more or less. So that's why I've given that 60. I have taken that 70, but you can also take it as 60. It won't be increased more than 60. And also one more thing also I can try. You can practice that in home. You can remove the complete password encoder from here. And what you can do over this Dilip, let's say over this this Dilip one, just create an ID. So what is the ID of this? NoOp, right? So just use the NoOp right here. NoOp is for NoOp password encoder. For bcrypt, for this kind of value, you can write bcrypt. Always maintain one. I have two kind of value here. Either you just take, either you store the value by using NoOp or by using bcrypt. I'm just showing you. That doesn't mean that you will store some value by using NoOp, by some values by using bcrypt, some values by using scrypt. Don't do like that. Okay. So for bcrypt, you can use bcrypt like this, the ID. If you are taking this, make sure that your value should be, database value should be, column value should be 65, because bcrypt is how many character? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 66 it will be. 60 plus 6, 66. Okay, just go for 66 as highest value or take it as 70 and use the ID just like this. And at that time, you don't have to use the password encoder. No, I think you can try without, by removing the password encoder also, it will work, because here only you are telling that, okay, I'm using this NoOp to store the data. And whenever you'll be reading the data, use this NoOp. The NoOp means NoOp password encoder. Bcrypt means bcrypt password encoder. Spring is well smart to figure that out. Okay, and I'll be telling more about this, but you can try this for today. Okay, just use bcrypt everywhere and remove this password encoder. And here, maybe my security config, no need to write the password encoder, and it's just right here. Don't define the password encoder. This will be enough. Okay, so maybe you can try that, but I'm reverting back my code because tomorrow I'll be trying and again we'll be having issues, and I will not understand that, okay, what I have changed. Anyhow, that's okay. I'm good. Any questions so far? How is it going, guys? Boring, interesting, slow, fast? Any suggestion? Everyone silent, sleeping.
It's okay, sir.
I'm good. God bless.
Okay, cool. So try it, guys. Tomorrow I'll meet you guys same time. Maybe okay, Saturday or Sunday Java 8 class. When you want to have it, just plan it and accordingly let me know. I'll just take the Java 8 class accordingly. Okay. Maybe you guys can decide by Thursday.
Alright, so that's it guys. Thank you very much for watching this, and I hope you have enjoyed this particular session and you have learned it well, like how easy it is to connect to the real database and to store our users inside a real database, and how we can basically fetch the data from the database as well. So see you in the next episode, where we'll be learning how to create a sign-off form, right? So that the users can actually register by using a sign-off form, and we actually don't have to insert the data manually inside the database. So some good things coming up, and I'll see you around, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care, bye bye, and happy coding.